told this story before at last year's event, but as my poet friend says, a good story is like a good friend. Sometimes it's good to bring them around every once in a while. So this story begins in the middle of things. I was 17 and my mom was taking me by the hand to Tufts Medical Center for yet another medical test. I consider myself patient 0 with Dan-Friend disease. And what essentially that meant was no one really knew what was going on, but I had a virus, it caused my brain to swell, it put me in the hospital, it was making me incredibly light sensitive. And we were 3 months into it, and I had another test. So my mom was my doctor and my advocate at the time, and she was talking to the neuro-ophthalmologist. To be honest, I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention. I kind of felt like she was my lawyer, and I was kind of awaiting trial, and I just shut up and didn't really say anything and trusted her. So they told me that the medical test will begin, and they put some drops in my eyes to dilate my pupils. I remember it kind of stinging. And then they brought me into this elevator. And it was a pretty big complex. There was over 14 floors. And the nurse moved her finger all the way down to triple B. And I went, where are we going? She goes, we're going to the 3rd sub-basement. Now, spoiler alert, nothing good happens in a sub-basement. If you're coming home from a date and it goes great at the end of it, your date goes, you want to grab a nightcap in my sub-basement? Order an Uber. So the nurse took me down to the floor, and it was this old office space in a basement, but it looked like it was abandoned. There were computers, but they looked like they hadn't been used since the Clinton administration. Some of them even had floppy disk drives. For those who don't know, floppy disk drives were meant to store data. There was this little red light. It kind of reminded me of a photography darkroom. And the nurse sat me down in a swivel chair and put a blindfold on me and just said, wait here, I'll be back. So I'm in the dark and I'm blindfolded, and it's just like me and like the fan and like these old computers. I don't know how long I was down there for. It could have been 20 minutes, could have been an hour. The nurse eventually comes back and she takes off the blindfold. And I'm not exactly sure what's about to happen, but I feel this cold gel. She rubs this cold gel on my forehead, and I go, what is this gel for? She goes, oh, it's electrical conduction gel. It's like, okay, what's that for? And I felt this cold metal thing, and she goes, the grounding wire. She goes, the grounding wire for what? And she goes, the electrode. Now I'm in full panic. I'm like, the electrode for what? And she's like, the electrode we're going to put on your eye. So they take what looks like the contact lens from hell. It's like a contact lens with a little circuit, and they put it kind of under my eye. Yeah, and it's about as painful as it sounds. And they lock me into this device that kind of holds your chin in place, and the nurse goes, this is going to be bright. Now that is the understatement of my life. I was already extremely light sensitive. They dilated my pupils, and I was in a dark sub-basement for at least 20 minutes. And when they turned on the test, it felt like God was going to kill me. The pain was truly a religious experience. And after what seemed like an eternity, they took the device off, or she shut it down, and then she said, now for the other eye. So it was a dark time for me. I remember my mom purchased me some really cool Oakley sunglasses to help with the light sensitivity. And for most of it, my parents didn't kind of buy us that kind of stuff. We're more of a Costco family. And it really meant a lot to me. I thought I looked really cool, and it was kind of like my security blanket. When I went to class, no one could see me cry, and stuff like that. But not all of it was dark. There was actually this girl who I really liked. Her name was Abby. And as I was kind of progressing to get better, I really wanted to go to prom. So I remember I asked her out to prom, and I was really nervous what she would say, and she said yes. I remember the day of, I wasn't really feeling that great, but I really wanted to go. I had my sunglasses on. I hadn't really been in school, so I was kind of nervous. And I go to prom, and everyone's taking pictures, and the flash is kind of blinding me in the eyes. And the beginning was kind of stressful, but I remember when we go outside she gives me the boutonniere, I give her the corsage. she also took out a box and she opened it. And inside there were sunglasses. And she said, "What are you waiting for? Put them on me." And even though it was a dark time, and this happened over a decade ago, I will always remember that bright spot, and I will always be grateful to Ab. Thank you.